Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back another video today, and today I'm going to do my Houston Texans record predictions after signing Nick Chubb. I love this signing for the Texans, bringing in Nick Chubb. Look, I had a couple of people comment on my original video saying, oh, this is, there was one or two people that said it. This is not a good signing for the Texans. He's not going to be as good as you think. And this is what I said, and this is what I keep saying. Nick Chubb, adding him in, I don't think anyone expects bringing him in and him getting back to where he was when he was a top 3 running back in the league, maybe top 2. Some people would consider him number 1 at times. I don't think anybody's going to expect him to get back to that level. But I think that if he can, and this is what I've said, if he can be 70, maybe 75 to 80% of what he was before as a backup running back, that is great. And, for a backup, just to be 75, 80% what he used to be, that would be an amazing addition for this Houston Texans team. And I think it helps out. I think this addition helps out this team. It makes their running game more dangerous. Look, I think this O-line, are they amazing? No. But I think they need more. They need more. And this is a more new, a newer offensive line. We don't know how this offense, because there's a lot of new guys in the offensive line. But this offensive line seems like it's going to be a better run blocking team than a pass blocking team. I'm not saying the pass block is going to be horrendous. It could be. I don't know. But it seems like the run blocking of this offensive line is going to be a lot better than the pass block. And I think that having a strong run game for the Texans, not just Joe Mixon, but other guys outside of him, like Nick Chubb and Dameon Pierce and draft pick, 4th round pick, Woody Marks, Dre and Gabalaway. This is a strong running back room, might be one of the strongest in the NFL, and that is why it's a great addition, especially if the offense is, like the Texans just drafted Ursere from Minnesota. He is a great run blocker. So, the Texans brought in other good run blockers this offseason. So, I'm excited for this signing, but I'm going to do record predictions after the Texans sign Nick Chubb. I don't know how much of a difference he makes. Look, he makes a difference for this team, but I don't know how much of a difference he puts in the record, to be honest. I'm going to go over my record predictions for this Houston Texans team. All right, I'm going to start off with Los Angeles Week 1. I'm going to go with the Texans losing this game. I'm sorry. This will be a homecoming for C.J. Stroud. Going back to, he's from Los Angeles. He's never played in Los Angeles. That should be great for CJ. I'm sure it'll be great to play in his hometown. He's never done that. He's played the Chargers many times. Or not many times. He's played the Chargers once. Is that right? Yeah, he played the Chargers in the playoffs, and he's never played the Rams. So this is the first time. The last time the Texans played the Rams was, I remember it was Halloween Day in Houston. Davis Mills had to start. I think we lost by, I can't believe I remember the score off the top of my head, but I think it was 37-21. Because I remember the Texans being down like 37-7 or something like that, and then they scored like 2 or 3 touchdowns late in the game. It was not a fun one. But that was Halloween Day on 2021. I'm going to go with the Texans losing this game. And I honestly, as much as I'd love to see the team start off 1-0, I'm not going to be mad if it happens. I also wouldn't be mad if the Texans start off 0-1. And here's my reasoning. I had 2 reasons. Number 1, I wouldn't feel terrible if Los Angeles got a win in their first home game back after the Fires. Like, we know this team, they played 2 playoff games. One was played in Arizona against the Vikings. The other played in Philadelphia. They haven't played in Los Angeles since the Wildfires. So that would be great for the city of Los Angeles. I know it's going to be a big topic during this game. But that's not the only reason I say I wouldn't be mad if the Texans lost the Rams Week 1 game. I look at the first 2 games of the season, the Buccaneers and the Rams. And I'm sorry, I just don't see the Texans starting off 2-0. I think those are 2 really hard opponents to start off the season with, and I see the Texans starting off the season 1-1. And if I had to pick which game I want the Texans to win, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a Monday Night Football game. That is a big game to win. It's C.J. Stroud versus Baker Mayfield. And more importantly to me, my uncle is a Buccaneers fan, and I want to be able to gloat if we beat them. So That's why I'd be 100% happy if we lost the Rams, because then I think I think that, we get the win against the Bucs. So that's what I'm predicting. I'm predicting the Texans lose against the Rams, and C.J. Stroud and the Texans put on a show in Week 2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But those are two hard matchups to start off the season. That's why I'm going on 1-1 for the Texans. But I'm excited. I'm really excited to see how it plays. The Texans definitely could beat the Rams. I'm not saying they can't. It's just going to be Devontae dealing with this secondary is great, but dealing with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua on the road, that's going to be a tough challenge Week 1. But I'm going 1-1 with Rams and Bucks. Rams lost, Bucks win. But then go to Jacksonville. Look, this should be a fun matchup. Seeing Travis Hunter versus Nico Collins. Travis Hunter versus Derek Stingley. It's going to be a great matchup. Trevor Lawrence versus C.J. Stroud. I'm going with the Texans winning in Jacksonville and going to 2-1 with the win. Then the Texans go back home to face the Tennessee Titans. It'll be the first non-primetime home game for the Houston Texans. And I got the Texans winning against the Tennessee Titans in the first C.J. Stroud-Cam Ward matchup to go to 3-1. But in Baltimore the next week, I'm sorry, but I'm going with the Texans, giving the Texans a loss here, 3-2. But I think here's the great thing. This is what I think is going to be a great thing. If you just go into Baltimore and be competitive, that's great. You got blown out last year. You got blown out. You got blown out in the playoffs in Baltimore. It's just the last 3 games in C.J. Stroud's career. It's not been competitive. I think it's a good sign if C.J. Stroud can go into Baltimore and be competitive. If it's a close game, I don't care. It's 3-2, you're fine. Move on to the next week. You got Seattle. So I'm not concerned at all if the Texans lose this game. I would be concerned if they got crushed. So if they can be competitive, I think it's all okay. But then the next week, you've got the bye, through the week of October 12th and October 13th. I'm going with the Texans on Monday Night Football on the road in Seattle to go 4-2. Then you've got a 3-game homestand. I'm taking the Texans to go 2-1 in this 3-game homestand. Like I said, you're 4-2. I'm going with them to beat the 49ers, beat the Broncos. That'll be 3 straight wins, and then you're 6-2 after dropping to 3-2. And I'm going to go with the Texans losing the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars improved. You swept the Jaguars last year because they had a really bad year. I think, like I said, I think the Jags are improved. I think they split this year. And it's very like the Texans to beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville and then lose to them in Houston. So I'm going with a 2-1 homestand right there. And then you go to 6-3. Then in Tennessee, I'm going with the Texans to get a win, to go to 7-3. You've got a Thursday night football game against the Buffalo Bills. I'm going with the Texans to win this game. I think this is a winnable game for the Texans. They beat them last year. I think they're improved this year. So I'm going with the Texans to win this game as well. And you go to 8-3. I'm going with the Texans to beat the Colts. To go to 9-3. I'm going with the Texans to beat the Chiefs and go to 10-3. That's your revenge game right there. Then I'm going to say the Texans drop one to the Cardinals. It seems like a game the Texans would lose. You're 10-4. I'm going to go with the Texans beating the Raiders, and you're 11-4. I'm going to go with the Texans losing in L.A. against the Chargers, so you lose both games in L.A. It's not great for C.J. Stroud. And you're 11-5, and I'm going to go with the Texans beating the Colts in Houston, and go to 12-5. But I will note this. That could be a game the Texans lose, because keep in mind, depending on how the division looks, I'm going to throw this out there. I'm going to actually switch that. I'm going to say the Texans lose that Colts game and drop to 11-6, because this is why I said that. If you're 11-5 and going into Week 18, I think the Colts, Titans, and Jags are all improved, but I don't think either of those teams, none of those 3 teams are going to be that close to the division. So I believe that if you're 11-5 going into Week 18, you've got the division locked up. Starters are resting for the playoffs. You know what? Also at the same time, the Texans could be trying to get the 1 seed at 12-5, so who knows? But I'm going to go with 11-6. I think this is an 11-6 record or a 12-5. At worst, I think 10-7 for this team, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on this Texans edition of Nick Chubb and what you think their record will be after bringing in Nick Chubb. It's a video, and give me your thoughts on my record predictions. This video, hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.